Hey guys, welcome back to Kelly Family Fitness. My name is Brian Kelly and you're in for a treat today. I have a great soup recipe I'm going to share with you. It's November here in Ohio. It's starting to get cloudy and cold and rainy and crappy. This is very similar to almost chili. We're going to use some sweet potatoes. I've got chicken sausage going in there. We're going to throw in some spinach to make it really healthy. Just a few seasonings. It is absolutely killer. You'll love it. Stick around. I'm going to take you through it.
Right where to go. I'm on the road, it's my time. Taking control of my life. I want to run the red lights. I've got to run this show. You always take me so high. You always make the high.
Okay, to get these raw links a little bit easier to cut up and handle, I'm going to go ahead and boil them first. You can boil them in water. You could grill them, bake them, whatever you want to do. I'm going to boil mine and some beer. Funny story. A long time ago, I was heavy into watching the Cooking Network back when Emeril Lagasse had Emeril Live on. And I thought to myself it would be hilarious to do a cooking show where I had my friends come over, or neighbors, or whatever. And every show, we cook with a different alcohol. So, in this one I boiled with beer. But you could do like a bourbon glaze or whatever, take your pick. But the alcohol that you're cooking with, you also have to drink throughout the cooking show. And then by the end of the cooking show, we're all hammered, and I just thought it would be hilarious just to banter with people while we were drunk cooking in the kitchen. Probably not very safe, but very funny. That's the way I would normally cook them. If I was barbecuing outside, I would boil them first, kind of pre-cook them, and then throw them on the grill to finish. So that's what we're going to do here. Now once that comes up to a boil, I'm just going to let them go about 5 minutes. I don't need to cook them all the way through. They're going to cook in the soup. I just want it to be so that when I cut them into small slices, they're not kind of falling apart all over the place. Okay, while the chicken sausages are cooking, I'm going to go ahead and chop up my, it's about a medium-sized yellow onion, and I'm going to peel and chop up these sweet potatoes.
All I want is satisfaction. Make a move, baby, you got nothing to lose. Give me that good reaction. Gonna make it right, little like an offer I can refuse. I'm on the road, it's my time. Taking control of my life. I want to run the.
You got to really be careful when you're cutting up sweet potatoes, in my opinion. I tend to use a peeler to get the skin off. And then once I do, I think the most important thing that you can do is use a sharp knife and then figure out a way to keep your fingers out of the way. Now I know that seems like duh, but I'm telling you, these sweet potatoes are so dense that when you go to cut them, they slip right out of your hands. Your knife can slip, all kinds of bad things can happen when you're working with sweet potatoes, in my opinion, especially if you're just a novice cook. That's most of the peel. Take off this edge here, and actually what I want is just a flat end. Take that little guy out. Trim. And my peel. Now what I want to do, the way that I like to do them anyways, keeps me from cutting my darn fingers off. Stand it up on that flat end. Take your sharp knife. I'm going to section this out into probably, let's see, this is probably about 3 inches wide. So I'm going to section into 4 long, thin strips. So I'm going to take my knife from top to bottom, keep my fingers out of the way, and just pull down, right in the middle. And then on the side, this will give me my last couple pieces. I want these to be in about like 1/2 inch to 1 inch chunks. So what I do is just take these strips that I just cut them into thirds, and then again cut them into chunks. Now in this soup, if you cook these a while, they get kind of soft, so it's okay if they're a little bit bigger. It actually gives it a pretty nice texture, gives it great flavor. You don't need to do too much more than this. It's pretty quick prep as long as you are careful and you don't cut yourself in the process. Okay, so I'm just using a large Dutch oven style pot. This is like a cast iron. You could use any kind of cooking oil you wanted. I tend to use avocado oil on a regular basis. It's got a little higher smoking point than olive oil. You could use vegetable oil, canola oil, whatever you want. This is what I cook with a lot and I already had it. So I'm going to put in about 2 tablespoons. I'm going to add my onions. Let those go 4 or 5 minutes and let them soften. I'm on like low to medium heat, though this is a gas range that gets pretty hot, so if you're on electric you may need it a little bit warmer than that. Okay, my onions are starting to soften. It's been about 3 minutes. I use frozen crushed garlic cubes. These things are each about a teaspoon a piece, I suppose. I'm going to do 2 of these. You literally just leave them in your freezer when you're ready. You just kind of squeeze them out. Super easy to use. So I did 2 of those. If you didn't have crushed garlic, you could easily use garlic powder. Now with garlic, it will burn quickly, so just about 30 seconds on the garlic. As soon as it starts to smell pretty fragrant, you're good. Just giving it a quick stir. I'll open up my first can of crushed tomatoes and have it ready. I'll throw them in there. And the other. Alright, and then I'm going to add my sweet potatoes. And my sausage. Now this is a extremely hearty soup. You could thin it with some water, or you could add another can of crushed tomatoes if you don't like yours as dense. It goes back to my days when I used to do bodybuilding. I want everything to be really dense, you know, calorie dense and nutritionally dense. So I tend to make my soups and stews pretty thick. Now that this is all kind of folded together, I'm going to go ahead and season, and then I will taste and re-season here in a little bit. But I'm going to start it off with about a teaspoon of oregano, just a little bit of salt and pepper, and then about a teaspoon of cayenne, and then we'll kind of go from there. So, again, I like my soups pretty warm. I like this soup spicy. For a lot of people, this might be a little bit much, but that's how I like it. So you could scale the seasoning however you wanted to. The spinach will wilt and cook down pretty quickly, so I'll put that in more towards the end. With everything folded together now, I'm just going to cover this and let it go on low heat, and I'll recheck it here in about 25 minutes. Okay, timer just went off. We'll check this out and see where we're at with everything. Turn that heat down a little bit. It's boiling pretty good. Here's our soup right now. It's a little bit thick, so I'm going to add about 2 cups of water to it. Again, I like my soup really thick, but this is so thick it almost let your spoon stand up vertically in the bowl. So I'm going to add a little bit of water to that just to thin it down. And then we'll just add a little stir. Now it's looking a little bit more like a soup. That's better. I like to test the sweet potatoes with a fork. If they go in easily, then we're good. If they're still a little bit hard, we need to let this go a little bit longer. and they are. They're still just a little bit firm. So what I'm going to do is check, taste to see if it needs any more seasoning, and then we're going to recover and cook another 10 minutes. Pretty good. I'm going to add another teaspoon of oregano. Actually, I'm going to do about a half teaspoon of oregano. I'm going to do just a little bit more salt. I'm going to do a little bit more cayenne. We'll call it, let's see here. We'll call it another teaspoon of cayenne. Just kind of incorporate that a little bit. Cover. Come back and recheck it in 15. Okay, our timer's going off again. We'll check it out. We should be there. All this will be dependent on how big the sweet potatoes are that you cut up. It'll take longer for bigger ones and not quite as long for smaller ones. And these are very fork tender now. We're there. I'm going to go ahead and retest to make sure I like the flavor. And then I'm going to incorporate the spinach. I'll give it about 5 minutes after that, and we should be ready to eat. That's good. It's got good flavor, a little bit of heat. I could always doctor it up if I wanted more, but that's we're about there. I'll add this 1-pound container of baby spinach. You could easily do frozen spinach. You'd want to thaw and drain it before you use that. I'm just using fresh. It was faster and easier. This stuff, it looks like there's a lot of it, and then once it starts to wilt, it's like, did I even put any in there? I don't even know. So don't be put off by how much it looks like I'm putting in there. It does reduce down a ton. That's good. I'm going to cover it up. Give it a couple minutes, let that stuff kind of wilt down and get happy. We're ready to eat. All right, let's see where we're at. Oh wow, look at that. Fantastic. I think we are there. Look at that. Super hearty, really nutritious. It's gonna taste fantastic. You know, you have what's similar to like a chili in that you have that tomato base, which is always kind of a comfort food, I think. We've got the sweet potato. You get all the vitamins and minerals from that. We've got fresh spinach in there. You know, over a pound of chicken sausage. I mean, this is gonna be nutritionally dense and very satisfying. All you'll have to do is try it. Because every ladle is just packed. This stuff is so good. It's good reheated, so this is a nice thing. Even if you live alone, you can make a big batch of this, kind of eat off of it all week, and it's going to be super nutritious and very dense and just easy. Look at that. I mean, you can't beat that. I've got less than $20 in ingredients. I have a week's worth of food if I want. So we'll give it a shot, make sure it tastes good. I don't want to recommend something that isn't up to my own standards. I want to get a little bit of everything on this bite. A little bit of the onion, a little bit of the sweet potato, some of the sausage, and hopefully not burn my face off in the process because this stuff is hot. This is going to be one of those bites. Yeah, I know I'm kind of stalling here, but this is going to be one of those bites where I have those blisters in the roof of my mouth. Like they delivered the pizza and I was starving, and rather than waiting for it to cool, I went at it like an 8-year-old and just started shoving it in my face. So that's what's going to happen here. I can already feel it. Hot. That's so good. You get everything in there. You know, you can taste the spinach, but it's very, very mild. That's a great way to add something healthy into your diet. Just throw it in with a bunch of other stuff into a soup. I do the same thing on my egg bakes. It makes them that much more nutritionally dense. It doesn't really take away from the flavor at all, and if you like spinach, you can kind of taste it. The onion is perfect. I don't need any more than that in there. The oregano is mild. If you really wanted to make it a little bit more of an Italian themed soup, you could add a little bit more than that, or even add a little bit of Italian seasoning to it. The cayenne is awesome. It's not like making my mouth on fire, like I have to have something to drink, but it's there and you can taste it and it kind of warms you up immediately. This is very good. I hope you give it a shot. Questions and comments down below. Please like and subscribe our channel. It helps, you know? Have a great day.